Hey everybody, it's Bust with Busted Strategies number 55, trying to get some Crimson Vow draft going. We'll see if the queues hold themselves up. But typically I jump right in. Since it is our first draft here, I did want to kind of spout out. I'm not super familiar with all the cards yet, so we'll probably be a bit rambly in the draft, but it is still always good. Yeah, connection lost. We'll just leave this up for a minute as I'm chatting. But I think it's good anyways. Like what we'll tend to try and do is be like, okay, what if we open up some kind of bomb rare or something, some rare that at least seems pretty good, and if we did, we'll just build around it. The draft may not fall in a way that fits that way, and that's fine. You know, there's a lot of uncommons that lend themselves to that. There's of course like the big two-color cycle of hey, build around me uncommons in the set. And so if one of those pops up as well, it's just much easier. You got to kind of like limit the brain power you have to use. We don't understand these nearly as much as we did, the Midnight Hunt drafts, and so just try to keep it simple. Try to limit yourself down to like two or three colors here pretty early, and then as we get more experience with the set, we'll certainly figure it out a little better. But let's get reconnected and see if we can't get ourselves into a draft. Okay, I think we're doing it. It seems like the server has holding itself up. Paid Amazon the extra $20 to keep the servers up and going. But nonetheless, let's see what we have here. Expensive ass white card. Creatures you control get 1/1, and then they become 4/4 half flying and angels. So it just kind of you just kind of win the game if you cast this thing. I think we could get behind this. This is just some kind of go wad white card. I think we could figure out something to do with that. These other ones, I'm not sure. I think that would probably end up being something like green white as to where this lands, and then I'm not sure what kind of tables here. I am kind of high on Traveling Minister. I'm not sure how this ends up playing out, but I just remember back to like seventh edition drafts and there being angelic pages and them being quite good. I think this traveling minister might carry some weight here, especially if you plant it in white black. It just automatically activates all of your life gain cards. Help you activate trainer, whatever apprentice, whatever the attack thing is called, that gives your guys the bonus. And so I think that could be interesting. Interesting. Snarling Wolf is also just in this set. Did not expect to see that one. Okay, what's this? The Soul Cipher board enters the battlefield with three counters on it. Look at the top two of your library. Put one in your hand. Then whenever a creature is put into your graveyard, remove an omen counter. It flips into some random 3/2 flying. I think I'd rather just kind of like try and focus on white. I do see things like the Parish Blade Trainee. I don't think this unit's any good, but time will have to tell. It is nice that it shifts the counters off of him onto something else. It just seems like a little bit unwieldy to get going. I'm just going to go with the Piercing Light here. White actually gets to pick up a removal spell. Probably kills about half the creatures in the format. Not horrible. And then I think white probably wants to pair with green if we're going to look for some kind of like go wide tokeny strategy. I'm not real sure how that'll play out. Spore Crawler seems quite good as well, but let's at least stick to white. That'll help kind of keep our decisions to a minimum, and then we'll figure out what we're doing as time goes on. All right, whenever this guy or another zombie you control dies, look at the top card of your library. If it's a zombie, you can put it in your hand. If it's not, you can mill it. Okay, I'm not really interested in Heron of Hope. This is just a life gain kind of card, but we gotta pick something out here since there's no white cards to take. I don't think Flourishing Hunter is where we really want to be. So this one's a bit unfortunate. The something like Wonderlight Spirit is something that's kind of on theme with how I like to play. There's also a Lacerate Flesh, which is a expensive removal spell. I guess bleed. We could look at bleed dry if we think we might wheel that life gain one cost dude. Then maybe the bleed dry will be okay. It's a pretty high powered removal spell. Okay, let me double check. All the white cards are gone. It's making it challenging for us as we started off with the white cards and they've all just disappeared. So let's see if we can't find something else to chase down. Flame Blessed Bolt always fine. Shock is good in every format. Uh, Could look to kind of draft the spells deck. We're pretty far away from it at this point, but I'm pretty sure it's a thing. You control spirit, one less if you control enchantment, counter spells, if you can. Hmm. This is a bit of a struggle. I think we could end up building around the devils, but I'm just going to pick the Wretched Throng here. Maybe we'll land in blue-white. I kind of like the idea of these card advantage-y kind of things. Okay, just red everywhere. Red is clearly open, as we see like a fifth pick of Braid along with some of those cards we were looking for in the previous pack. I'm just not really sure I want to dive in, though. I am kind of big on Serpentine Ambush. I think this is going to be kind of a sleeper of a good card. But otherwise, Doom Dissenter is fine if we end up in the Disturb deck. We don't have any, or the kill your own creatures kind of deck. Vampire Slayer, I don't feel like he does a whole lot. He's just going to be. I think he just kills every vampire in the format, anyways. But he is a bear. But I'm going to go with the Abrade. It does seem that red appears to be open. That seems like the most open of all the colors we've seen here, and so we'll just keep branching out. Okay, so deals 2 damage to you. Exile the top card of your library. You can play the card this turn. So drawing cards is always fun. And then he flips into a big boy. Okay, we could probably make something work with that. He's, very reasonably statted, if nothing else. All right, we already saw the Soul Cipher board. I don't think I'm real big on the Magma Pummeler, but it could be reasonable. Steelclad Spirit needs to be in the Disturb deck. You turn into a big boy, don't you? But I think that's just kind of the only potential playable here would be the Weary Prisoner. It doesn't seem particularly interesting. I'm not really amped about playing 4-mana defender units. Let's just pick the Pummeler. He kind of protects himself, right? If it takes damage while it has a counter, prevent it, and then remove that many counters. Yeah, you seem kind of trashy. NGL seem kind of bad. But let's see. As we move on, we can just ignore green at this point. Fearsome Werewolf seems decent. We had reasonable success with the black version of this card in the previous set. Otherwise, there's just another Piercing Light. But it's kind of tough. I mean, we could look at ourselves as trying to be in Boros. I don't want to abandon the summons just yet. So let's just pick up the Piercing Light and see how it plays out. Here, the Traveling Minister did table along with the Piercing Light. But if we're going to be in red... Oh, this is another, like, if we'd taken that spells card earlier, the Raconteur would be a little bit more interesting. When you cast a non-creature spell, he deals 1 damage to each opponent. All right, I'm going to pick up the Minister. This doesn't seem like the deck where he's going to be outrageously good. I just don't want to stack up too highly on cards like Piercing Light. It seems a little situational. So... pick up the Honored Heirloom. I don't think we'll be splashing it today, but it's an option. And then Blood Petal Celebrant, as we kind of saw with, it has first strike when it attacks. I guess that could be reasonable. I was going to say, I was trying to compare it to the, I don't know, it's not Vampire Lacerator, but whatever the 2-cost one was in the previous set that attacked and dealt damage to your opponent. Sure Strike is typically terrible, but let's at least add it in and see where we're at. All right, so yeah, I mean, I think we're just going to end up drafting Boros here. We'll see what we open in the next pack. Seems like this is a format to where you can pretty easily just get enough playables as we get a 13th pick removal spell. God, Serpentine Ambush. I assure you, this card is going to be good. The thing does not have business being a 14th pick card, but it's kind of is what it is, I guess. We all have our own card ratings and opinions at this point, but I feel like that's a card you're going to want 1 copy of in literally every single blue deck. All right, yeah. I mean, I don't know what the Boros theme is supposed to be in this set. It seems like the dude is kind of like a go wide card. I thought like the Boros thing was he the Boros uncommon like gave 2 other units plus 1 attack, something along those lines, but. Nonetheless, let's see. What do we got here? It's a rare red card. When the ill-tempered loner is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target. Pretty nice. And then he can pump himself. So, I mean, if they want to trade with it, it probably gets to 2 for 1. That's not bad. What else do we have in this pack? That's probably what we're going to be taking here. But resistance squad, if you control another human, draw a card, not bad. It's pretty much going to be a little bit better than Search Party Captain, I think. I do like Valorous Stance. As much as we hated like Sun Gold Barrage in the last set, I think it will be okay. And here, yeah, hopefully we'll table like a Vampire Slayer. If we're going to be in an aggressive deck here, I could still see the Traveling Ministers being okay, but the Ill-Tempered Loner is where we're going to be. I mean, we don't have to be locked into white. It's just the Sigarda's Summon seems to be quite good. All right. What do we got here? When you cast an enchantment, we're not going to be doing that. I mean, we could look to just be like red-black and maybe be kind of playing vampires, although, Bleed Dry is our only black card at this point, but we're certainly not married to white. When the killer enters the battlefield, a creature an opponent controls gets -2. If that opponent controls no other creatures, that's kind of situational. But nothing white is showing up. I don't want to be picking up something like Reckless Impulse. I think that we could look at... I mean, I don't think there was really green running around in the previous pack. Do we want to just try and pick up Child of the Pack? Just don't want to play so many Piercing Lights, and I don't want these other white cards. I was about to go on a tangent about... I forget which one it was. What's this? 5 damage to a creature. If it's a spirit, it deals 2 damage to the controller. Sure. And there's the battlefield, create a blood token. Whenever you sacrifice a blood token, we don't have enough. We don't have enough blood cards for that to work here. Did we look at anything green? Oh, cool. Mulch is in the format. Always love Mulch. I didn't know that they reprinted that one. This is Battlefield Mill 3, and put a 1/1 on it for each creature in your graveyard. It doesn't feel like the deck where that belongs. Let's just pick up the removal spell here. Create 2 blood tokens. Okay. All right, we can continue to take the red cards. I think the Uprising is okay. The end step, make a 1/1, and then if you control a bunch of dudes, you could deal 1 to anything. And we're just going to call this our big combo with the Sigarda Summons, right? We're just going to make this big-ass pile of 1/1s and then just turn them all into into angels. I think it's the big combo of the day. All right, let's lock ourselves into this sweet combo deck. I'm on board. Let's get the non-blue-white cards out of our deck and see what we can assemble for our sweet combo. All right, so one of the things we will need to watch for is we got to kind of get our curve in order. Into the Night, I don't think we have enough werewolves to be particularly interested in that, but it does cycle. I got to remember, some of these aren't day-night, some of these are just transforms. Steals damage to the opponent. Should still be fine. Should be good early, good late. We always love those kind of cards. The summons, let me get these sorted really quick. Honored Heirloom, probably not playing. Removal, Dude, probably not playing that one, but he can hang out for the moment. Sure Strike's not going to get played. Wolf, Dude, a Braid. Okay. Well, at least I can say with this deck is, for our first draft, it at least has a curve that isn't miserable. Has some real late game to it in these... summons plus Uprising kind of plays. We got some removal. Like we have a cohesive deck at this point. I think here we just need to find like a combat trick that isn't shitty. They may not even exist. I'm not familiar enough yet. We may actually have to play this Sure Strike as much as we don't want to. And otherwise, I think we're kind of okay. We got removal. We got a curve. We have late game. I think it's all reasonable and well. Make sure... Our top end is pretty decent at this point. I'd much rather have these Fearful Villagers than the likes of Daybreak Combatants. It's just a tried and true card. I find it tough to think that like this deck that we've assembled is going to get much use out of these Daybreak Combatants. I'm not sure what deck would even want this. It's kind of odd. What are you? Is like you a combat trick? Do I want to snatch you up? Not really. This card does not look particularly good. Exile the top 2 of your library. You can play those until next turn. Seems like, I mean, there is definitely like a blue-red spells deck here. We saw a bit of the tools for it in the last pack. I haven't seen the units that I would be particularly interested in if we wanted to play it. I'm kind of looking more towards, you're looking for like the Flame Breather. We saw two of the +1/+1 things in the previous pack, and now there's like a red card that costs one, draws a card, does some kind of bonus for every one in your graveyard, and you should be able to cycle through a bunch of those. We haven't seen any of those in this draft, but it's a thing. It exists. So, all right, it's a rare. Why not? We're not going to play the Unholy Efficient or the Reckless Impulse, so snatch up them rares. Not going to play any of these cards either. All right, we've finding our way into pack 3. What are you, a bear? As long as you control another wolf, he gets 1/0 and trample. Sure. Then Lightning Wolf. I feel bad about Lightning Wolf. I feel like we'll have to see if we can get like the art back up for him, but it just feels like they like got the art thing that said, "Hey, draw us a dog," and then at the end of the day, they're like, "Oh shit, we aren't using like green white dog anymore. We need like a red dog. Just switch this dog to a wolf. Photoshop its face and see what you can do." But anyways, we'll have to come back to that one. When you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on Voice of the Blessed. That works with our Traveling Minister as well. As long as it has 4 1/1s, it gets Flying Vigilance. If it has 10, it gets Indestructible. I mean, it's a reasonable bear. It's going to probably be better than Resistance Squad. We don't have any combos for it. It's kind of the downside, but it just needs like one Traveling Minister to really pop off. It's kind of hard to cast, being a double white in a deck like this, so it may end up giving us some trouble, but I stuck on that one too fast. I saw a card on there called like Sigarda's Imprisonment, which I kind of figure is like a Pacifism. Probably would have liked to have had it, but we were a little too slow. When he dies or another creature you control dies, gain a life. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more, flip into a bigger dude. Okay, we could probably use that. Oh, here's the Boros one though. Glad he showed up. At the beginning of combat on your turn, 2 target creatures you control get 1/0. Yeah. We can use that. We're going wide and stuff. Yeah, Boros guy, welcome to the squad. There's a Flame Blessed Bolt as well, but we do have all these piercing lights, and so I think I'd rather go for the higher quality unit here. But see, this is what I thought. I thought you're supposed, like when you're playing Boros, you're supposed to be doing some kind of go wide thing. It is weird that he's like red and white and a vampire, but kind of is what it is, I guess. Here, I think we want to take the Bolt. We're looking pretty strong on 2-drops. Like, we're not going to play the Flame Breather, but at least taking the Flame Breather out, we still have a reasonable collection of dudes. So I want to pick up the Shock. I think we're going to like this Militia Rallier. There's another Flame Blessed Bolt, though. Do want it. I'm kind of interested in that. How many? We have 1, 2, 3. It's going to be kind of hard to pull off the card draw on the Rallier. Let's just pick up the Shock. Sanctify destroys enchantments. No, thank you. Great Prisoner. We're not going to play. I don't know how many wolves or werewolves we had, but you could be a welcome addition to our squad. You could be. Got to double check and make sure. All right. So here, it's like I'm kind of interested in lifelink stuff. I just don't think it's going to happen here. Oh, you can only activate this when you can do a sorcery? Oh, fuck you, dude. I thought you could do it in combat. So say like we attack with 2 units and then we use this thing in combat. That's pretty nice. That's not going to work. Probably have to cut this guy. I had such high hopes for you, and then I read that you can only activate as a sorcery. Ancestral Anger is the card I was talking about where you could potentially use it in the spells deck, right? It costs 1, it's very cheap, draws a card, and gives a dude trample and a bonus for however many of those are in your graveyard. Of course, we're not playing it here, but there's some potential for that in those various decks. We can continue to stack these Ridge Wolves. It seems pretty realistic we can make those be a 3/2 here. All right, sure, Strike. I don't know that maybe there just aren't any combat tricks in this format. I was expecting there to be, a Flare of Faith kind of card or different red-based combat tricks. So maybe we're going to get stuck playing one of these. although I'm not happy about it. Can't always be happy about everything, I guess. Should be, but not the way it goes every time. Okay, so the combatants who can come out. Probably not going to play Belligerent Guest. I do like kind of, it's understated a little bit, but I do like these cards that kind of incidentally generate blood tokens, but I don't think that's going to be super strong here. Cut you. I'm not going to play Pyre Spawn, although I don't really want to play Magma Pummeler. Like, what's the best case scenario with this? Say, like, it's turn 6 and we play this thing as a 4/4. Wow, that's a really late shock, especially since these remove exile the creature. A lot of bonuses you can do with that. But no, with the Magma Pummeler, say we have 6 mana, we make a 4/4. Prevent it. Like this just you seem like you suck. I don't want you in our deck. Get out of here. So the blessed. Okay. Another dude that could be good early or good late. We would prefer, I guess I would prefer the likes of the one in the previous set that just said something can't block, but could be reasonable. I think Nurturing Presence might be reasonable in this set as well. This isn't the deck for it, but something to keep in mind as you hear my wonderful words. My beautiful voice says it could be useful one day. All right, but we're pretty close to a deck here. Coming out here and doing the Boros thing. 14 creatures feels a little low, but we do have the Stensia Uprising as a technically another creature. It'd be tough for us to close out a game with it, but it could do it. So let me see if there was any creatures I'd be moderately interested in. Don't want a Flame Breather. Can't do blood tokens for the Statuette. Maybe the Belligerent Guest could make its way in. I'd like a piece of top end in here, but Pyre Spawn just seems like garbage. I mean, guess they can like have to block it with 2 dudes. Oh my god, what a way to try to like make a card sound worthwhile. Like, I guess they have to block it with 2 dudes. Jesus. But I do want something kind of expensive in here. I mean, we have Sigarda's Summons, though. I mean, that... Creatures you control... Oh, no. Oh, no, that has, like, lines of text that I didn't bother to read. Oh, no, it says creatures you control with +1/+1 counters. I thought it was really weird that this thing gave your creatures +1/+1 and then turned them into 4/4s. Oh no! Oh jeez, fuck. Do we have +1/+1 counter things? We have the Voice of the Blessed. Oh no. Okay. Well, you could see where we were going with this. I thought it just like, the idea here was you just have a board full of dudes. They're all kind of shitty, and then you just turn them into gigantic flyers and win the game. It's not the way this card reads. I'm glad we at least figured this out now, as opposed to once we are actually in a game. So, all right, Sigarda's Summons. We could use the Sigarda's Summons with all these Magma Pummelers. I guess that could have been the way we do it. They just never die, right? They get the +1/+1. Damn. Okay, well, this white is certainly not impressive with the cards that we're playing here. Like Voice of the Blessed, we're not going to get any real value out of. Got a lot of wolves and things. Well, that's a learning experience. We'll be okay. So, let's see. How can we kind of shore this up? I guess I could see a world where the Daybreak combatants are kind of useful, but it's a stretch. I'm going to leave those out. Maybe we'll play 2 Sure Strikes since we seem to be this like just pile of bears at this point. And I guess I could see Reckless Impulse being decent. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. Till your end of your next turn, you can play those. So I mean, it's kind of as good as card draw is going to get in a deck like this. Oh, man, Traveling Minister. I thought you were going to be so good just tapping in the middle of combat, but I'm glad that we at least read these cards at some point before we actually got into the game. All right, so let's see where we're at. So we got 16 creatures, technically 17 with the Stensia Uprising, so we can cut out a few. I'm looking more towards these just like rando 2-drops. I think we just want to take Voice of the Blessed out. It's tough to cast, and we're going to have... it doesn't give any bonuses in our deck, so that can come out. That should have definitely been like a different card, but this gets us to 16. I think that's okay. Or we could probably do with one less creature. Looter I like. Pyre Spawn, we're just kind of stuck. We have to have something expensive. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 2s. I mean, it's like I'm kind of looking at just even taking out Vampire Slayer, so our only white cards are a little bit... we probably need the human, though. I think I'm okay with the Celebrant. All these wolves are fine. You're fine. Looking to say maybe cut out a Piercing Light. It's just a lot of ways to deal a little bit of damage. So we can probably cut one. Say we cut one Sure Strike. And I think I'm happy with the spells. Right, 3 Shocks and a Piercing Light, sure. A Braid. Our 1 card draw, the combat trick. I think if we had like more blood tokens, right, we can make 2 blood tokens. I think if we could make, like realistically make like 2 in a game, then we could live without having any card draw and just cycle away lands at the end of the game. But I don't think that's quite... Well, we do have this thing. The XX damage makes blood tokens. Let's take out the Reckless Impulse. I bet we're close enough. Then one more dude. Kind of want to keep the wolf thing. Okay, I was making sure we didn't put in that guy that just deals 2 damage to something. Let's take out a Runebound Wolf. I think that'll be okay. The only other choice would be like a Blood Petal Celebrant. This thing's like effect is pretty awkward, right? When it dies, you create a blood token, but it has first strike when it attacks. And so, like, for this to actually work, you need to attack with first strike and then just have it die. And so your opponent either needs to put a double block in front of it, or they need to block it with a bigger creature, which the double block is fine, but that just never happens. Or you need to be blocking with it, which is what our deck doesn't do. So I think I want to take the Celebrant back out and then just add back in our other copy of this wolf. And then I think we'll be good to go. Where are we at? Flame Breather, Impulse, Ragbound Wolf. Okay, cool, let's battle. All right, our first draft underway. Let's see if Magic Online agrees with us and doesn't bomb. but no, the deck, I mean, it's fine. It's reasonable enough for a day 1 deck. It's got aggressive curve, removal spells. It's apparently got some cards that look like bombs, but once you read it later, maybe not. And we'll see what happens. This is a reasonable enough start on the play. Need to pick up a Plains. This is the kind of hand that, you know, falls really flat if they have an answer to our first dude. But we'll see. Let's just start with the wolf. I don't want to have to play like Sure Strike next turn, and I want to kind of act like we can just trade. It's like the Visionaries feels like a pretty high valued unit. Still okay with this if he wants to trade. Whenever another human enters the battlefield, it gets 1/1 until end of turn. Okay. So, I mean, if this hits a land, it can pretty easily flip. I don't know how I feel about that. He just flips automatically. Like, if we wanted to sit around and play a bunch of cards with this thing, we just can't do it. It's a little suck, but... yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we've dealt with worse before. Maybe we just don't even care. Like, I really like the Waltzer here, giving the Runebound Wolf a bonus and just having a big-ass attack. Yeah, see how big-ass my attack is? Interesting. And he does have a ramp card, right? I do like Weaver of Blossoms. It seems pretty reasonable. 2/3 for 3. Taps for mana, flips into some reasonable stats. Looks like he's got a lei on. Is that what, right? The Hawaiian things? Is that what those are called? The Hawaiian necklaces out of flowers? I'm so cultured. it's, all right, he took the flip. But then he left the pause on. Is he going to spend 6 mana before we draw a card? Target creature you control gets 2/0 if it's night. Then it deals damage equal to its power to a creature you don't control. I don't feel like I enjoy that. Go for the 2-for-1. Boom him. Should have tapped. We could have tapped our land better. We just got kind of saved by drawing the mountain, but we should have left a mountain up. So if we drew any land, we could use our sure strike here. But feels like a pretty good spot to be in. Feel like we could win the game here shortly. What's this thing do? When he enters the battlefield or attacks, make a 1/1 token. Okay. No damage equal to the number of wolves. Yeah, we're getting close to being there. Creature or planeswalker. Okay. Flip our dude. Are you a wolf now? No, you're just a berserker. It's probably his favorite band. I'm sure one of you nerds out there is familiar with the band Berserker. Alright, he tapped out, so we just win. That's the way I like to see it. Boom. 100% win rate. Crimson Vow Limited. Saw it here first. That's why people are here. Taking our shitty deck straight to the 100% win rate. This is... Sure. All right, yeah. Go us. Maybe we'll hit Mythic before we start streaming on the weekend if we keep getting keep getting wins with decks as high quality as this. Looks reasonable. We got, I mean, all the wolves. If we hit another one and have all these 3/2 tramples with a shock, not a bad start. All the ridge wolves climbing the mountains today. It's gonna shock it. Lame, dude. Uh-oh. Really kind of counting on drawing a land here. Not the end of the world. I wonder if this dude's playing that 6-mana enchantment that turns all your dudes into angels. I wonder. He could be doing it. What the fuck is this? Target creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it gains lifelink and indestructible. And then that thing. Okay. Well, yeah, this is pretty horrific now. This game's pretty done. I still don't feel like this Blade Parish trainer is any good, but let's find out. We don't have any blocks here. It's just a little unfortunate in terms of if we want to play the bolt on the trainee, he can sacrifice this dum-dum to it. The fuck are you doing? Why? Why would you do that? Why are you the way that you are? You don't have any counters. Okay. Well then. He's got to stop. He's going back to read his card. You can see it highlighted in the graveyard. Doesn't he gives his +1/+1 counters away. He doesn't give his power away. I feel better now. Not bad, not bad. Oh, this is target a creature with the +1/+1, right? Target creature you control with a 1/1 counter gains lifelink and indestructible. Okay. Uh-oh, crazy puppeteer. What's this? When this thing attacks, you attacked with exactly one other creature. You may have that creature become a 4/3. Okay, creepy. Whoa, you have haste? Dang, son. Alright, we drew a land. So let's get the dude on board so we can be a little bit stronger here. I think we've kind of caught up. That seemed bad for a while, but it feels less bad now. He's still ahead on life, but I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't feel so good at this stage. If we draw another land, maybe he'll feel okay. Target vampire you control deals damage equal to its power to another creature. No. And this exiles it, right? So he doesn't get the blood token. All the values. Oh my gosh. I didn't know it was possible to get so much values. I'm going to go with the werewolf. There's technically a world where he can't play any cards on his turn. I don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, if he adds a reasonably sized dude here, we might get an attack in with the villager where he doesn't have good blocks. This is going to be a fantastic piercing light. I can already tell. I'm already getting warm thinking about how good this piercing light's going to be. Let's leave the land on top. Okay. Squad. All right, we're almost there. Almost there. Lethal. Got him. 2-0. 100% wins. Ugh. It's impossible. Like, only like a quarter of the players would be able to do this. So, pretty impressive. That's the stuff right there. Only 25% of magicians are capable of being 100% win rate after 2 games. Yeah, it's like the more and the more I play with these cards, I just feel like red is going to be in Crimson Vow kind of what it was in Midnight Hunt. It's just kind of hot take after 2 games that there's a lot of, you know, seemingly powerful cards. There's in Crimson or in Midnight Hunt we had, you know, Midnight Lightning Bolt, and then there was Cathartic Pyre and the Shock at common, and there's a lot of like really good looking things, but the card quality ended up just being really low. That kind of feels like what a lot of these cards are like. It's these wolves and these little vampires all feel like they're kind of on the weaker end of the spectrum. Here we can't keep this. We gotta have a mountain for a hand like this. Better. These are the wolves we don't want. That's our late game wolf. But I don't know. We drafted what seems to be a red-green deck, and we're just playing red-white. so that can play to it to a degree. Let's see. I was considering starting with the Runebound Wolf. I assume that this black-red deck that doesn't have a vampire on the second turn is just going to be like removal spells, removal spell deck. So we'll see. But I assume that he's going to be dropping a 1-for-1 removal every turn for the next few turns. Maybe not. Do we get the tempo? What's this thing? Discard a card, gains indestructible, tap it. And then if there's stuff in your graveyard, flip. Alright, let's just kill this thing. Yeah, it's like, I wish you could choose to not flip this, right? Yeah, you're lame. You're lame, dude. Yeah, this feels pretty unwinnable. If they play any kind of expensive card, then we're really going to be hurting out here. But he's just playing a bunch of 2-drops, I guess. We can bang with that. He's going to get a blood token off of the blood pedal. I'd say that one most certainly comes in. And I was going to say, I bet he wants to get another blood token with his belligerent guest. So, makes sense. Let's him cycle away the lands. We're going to be trying to do the same thing back to them. Doing. Weird, they just let these piles of blood hang out all over their house. It seems like a health hazard. Right, well, this is bad. He's got 4 cycles on the board to our 0. So basically, you know, we both have 6 land, 2 dudes in hand. I assume he has like a land in hand, but yeah, it's like every card he draws is turning into something, or ours are trash. every land draw for us is pretty bad. Interesting. Could block this with 2 creatures. Oh, I thought this was the card draw thing. Oh. Okay, we'll give this one up. Not opposed to playing Militia Rallier, I just thought it was something different. It's usually Ember Beast, is that what that usually is? It's usually a 3/4 red card that can't attack alone. They're always fine. There's some formats to where they're exceptionally good. But that's a 3/4. It's a lot tougher to deal with a 3/4 than a 3/3. Lots of just rando 3/1s running around. Okay, what do we got here? We drew our rare. Okay, let's give it a shot. We got a curve. Look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4. We can do it. Ooh, we got our big time value card as well. Nothing better than big time value. You don't have to do this though, right? And then if you control 13 permanents, you may sacrifice. Okay. Looks like a big boy, big girl. What you doing? As long as you've put 1 or more 1/1 counters on a creature this turn, she gets trample and lifelink. Ew, that's gonna be a pain in the butt to deal with. Now, do we want to like flip our dude and then just like throw down on this? I don't think so just yet. Where's our thing? Okay. Playing the long game now. He doesn't have like a trainer yet. Like that's how you get the bonuses out of all these cards, right? It's with training. We saw some of them earlier from the dude that was messing up on the 1-2 spread the tokens out. So I think it's okay. Now this is where it's going to start to be a problem, right? The cadet's going to get the token. It's the Guardian Paladins that's going to get effing huge. Well, it's the lifelink hit that's the problem out of this Paladin. So we should be able to trade. Wonder if he, I mean, there's potential if he does like something weird, like if he plays the 2+2/+2 giant growth onto the Paladin. We could kill both of his creatures, but doesn't look like he's taking the bait. Do something lame now. Okay. Sure. What are we doing here? We can like kill off his board. I'm not opposed to that. This stuff's all going to start to grow. Yeah, let's just slam it all. Oh, quit. Why would I ever want to tap all my mountains there? Alright, so we can get all these sweet damages in. And then, I mean, if we get to 13 permanents, we can go nug. Bring a seven piece to the nugget and maybe get a win that way. It's a good stretch. I'm ready now. Bring in the attacks. Okay. Interesting. It's interesting that he feels like this is safe. So I'd assume he's going to play like 2 units. Like even if he plays like 2/2/2s, that's pretty decent for him. But okay. Squad. The beginning of your end step, you do that. Then you may sacrifice it and deal damage to something. Sure. Let's do it. Oh, hang on. Oh, exactly 13. So we shouldn't have played the land. If we kept the land in hand, then we would have had exactly 13. That's getting exacties is Not surprised we fucked that up. Give this thing a read. It had a bunch of text on it. Exile it from your graveyard, make 2 spirits. Gotcha. I'm surprised they didn't reprint like Lingering Souls. That's that's the Innistrad memory I have. Oh, I thought this card was a turd. Let's see. Equipped creature gets 3/3. When equipped creature attacks, you can sacrifice a forest. If you do, it gains trample. I don't think I would play a 3/3 equipment that just gave it trample all the time. That's just me, though. If he equips it to something, I'm going to feel really good about this turn, though. That's aggressive, boss man. 3, 6, 7, 8. We were just lethal. Oh no, he could block Pyre Spawn. Okay. Well, thank you for saving us, Waltzer. GG. Well, we've learned with our uprising. We know what all of our rares do now, right? We've got the training angel card in the sideboard. We know how to count exactly to 13. Well, we know we're supposed to count to 13. Mathematics not my strong suit, so more incoming fuck ups on that thing, but looking pretty good otherwise. Looking good. All right, on to battle. So yeah, glad we're getting to play. I fired up the old Twitch.tv earlier in the day just to see everyone just playing Magic Online, and I was like, well, that's weird. And it's like, oh, the servers are down. That's why. Well, there were people playing Constructed on Arena, but not drafting. It was just wild to me. But I guess it made sense once I got all the infos and the drafts were down, but you could still play Constructed. It was very, very strange. I guess everyone wanted to draft. Nonetheless, reasonable start. Not gonna mulligan that one. Everybody playing the Boros deck today. Oh, that's... Oh, he has until his next turn to play those cards. I guess that's okay then. I'm gonna say, it just seems like an actual do-nothing if you just slow it down here. Oh no, look at this. Where'd it go? Did you see the Adamant Will? Common, 2/2, and indestructible. That's the kind of thing we were looking for, so we didn't have to play these Sure Strikes or whatever it was called. And we sequenced this wrong. We should be playing the Vampire Slayer this turn so that we could Flame Bless bolt something on his turn. But doesn't have anything to stop us apparently. Apparently hurting for a planes. There it is. What you got? Who you bringing down? Who's coming to the party? Thinking hard on it. Okay, that did something. X damage to a creature or planeswalker gain X life. Okay. Well, that's all we can do. that's the extent of our game. Okay. That feels very non-exciting for the extent of things to do with your planes. Bringing that heat. Sure. Maybe you'll just send it back to us and not play anything. That would be nice. Uh-oh. He didn't get the memo that the traveling minister doesn't get to tap in the middle of combat. I don't think he ever blocks here. I was wanting to get like a piercing light off, but doesn't seem to be possible. Are either of these spirits? No. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and flip. We'll see if we can't get a piercing light on this minister if he wants to keep trying to be aggressive on us. I'd like to just scry. You know, nothing wrong with scrying. When Panic Bystander or another creature you control dies, you gain a life. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained 3 more, then flip. Okay, well, let's go ahead and kill something off. We can kill this one, and then again, like, we can exile this dude next turn, and so he won't get to gain the life off of it either. What was this? I know we saw this in the draft and thought we probably wanted it, but enchanted creature can't attack or block, so it pacifisms, and then you can pay a bunch to exile it and make a blood token. Okay. Well, we're in a pretty good spot if we can draw a mountain. We got a lot going on here. We're close to just we got at least got his health total close to just lethaling with the uprising. Sure. Bring it. Attack with it. I want the scry. Bring it. It's been brought. So what do we do here? Do we actually just go for the uprising and then play the spawn later? He's so big, though. Ooh, he's highlighting his enchantment. If he spends 5 mana to make a blood token, that's pretty good for us. Okay. Because, I mean, he can't attack with the Quartermaster or he just dies. He's just going to lose it to our Pyre spawn. I'm going to bring both. If he wants to get the value block on the Slayer and then just say, I can't kill this Pyre spawn for the rest of the game, then I think that's still pretty good for us. 8. We'll play the land to take it to 9. This gets to 10. Okay, I think we're good. Could exile the Pyre spawn, sure, but I think it was pretty good to get him down to such a low point of health. Comes the trainee, sure. All right, then we've got 12 permanents. Let's see if we get to exactly 13. I believe in us. Didn't need to. All right. Victory number 4, I do believe. Make them gems back. Whoop whoop. Okay, I was kind of thinking, I wonder how this would feel if they'll have to do an event, right, where they combine the 2 sets together, and you do some kind of draft with both Midnight Hunt and with Crimson Vow. Wonder what it would be like if they just did 2 packs of each, 4-pack draft. I'm sure it would break the system for eternity to try to add add an additional pack of draft, but curious how that would play out, like a little mini constructed at the end of the day. But that's why I got like so weirded out about this. I had to keep like looking and looking and looking, and nobody wants to effing tell you if this was going to be like triple Crimson Vow or if it's like 2 Crimson Vow, 1 Midnight Hunt. Because that's the, I don't know, my age showing and the way that things used to be with the block structure across all the time. But I mean, I guess you do sell a lot more packs this way of the new set. So yeah, make them bills. Let's play the wolf. We've kind of found ourselves in these spaces as to where we don't want to just like trade away the visionary. So feels a little bit safer. Add the villager. So this be a syncopate. Sure. Nice little tempo play. I should have read this. It's a 2/2 zombie on the back end. That's not fair. At least, I mean, if he's going to be playing exploit, I'd like to keep his board, to a minimum. But this dude's cards seem better than ours. That's not fair. What do you do? At the beginning of your pre-combat... God, it's on the back. Okay, add a mana of any color, put an omen counter on it. There's 3 omen counters, flip it and untap it. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, make a mana of any color. But you're big. Okay. Chandra? Chandra hanging out? She hang out in the old lands of Innistrad? No way. She's not flipping into some weird berserker. It's just some redheaded girl with the steampunk goggles. Am I right? Guess we'll never find out if he's gonna put it in the graveyard. Yeah, that can't be Chandra. No way. Just one of her loyal fans. Say, girl, I like your style. Alright, well, not real happy with these attacks. We could have, like, Rending Flamed the 2/2 and then attacked with the Rhinebound Wolf, but that doesn't seem real impressive, especially once our opponent has gotten sunk in mana. So it's like, it just kind of feels like if they play a land and then a 5-cost unit, we want to be able to kill it with Rending Flame. Exploits a creature, scry 1, draw a card. Okay. Not found his land. Boom. Alright, well. We lose out on our ability to do the face damage with the wolf next turn, but maybe we'll get a good Rending Flame. Okay. I think it's kind of scary with them coming out here and flipping into the 5/5. The beginning of your end step. If there are 3 counters on it, pop it, flip it, reverse it. Okay. I don't like that he keeps highlighting our Waltzer. Maybe he's just counting damage here. He touched all of our units. That starts to be problematic. Gets to gain 3 life off of that as well, which kind of suck. How does he have his third black? Does this tap for any color mana? Yeah. Okay. Not a spirit. Oh my god. F. I guess at least we can destroy artifacts here. I wonder... Let's do this. Hang on, is this an artifact? Yeah. Say he blocks with the Thresher. That's the, you know, the intelligent block is throwing the 5/5 in front of it. I was going to say maybe we can get an Abrade and throw a bunch of trample damage down on this thing. Just punch an extra 3 damage through when he makes the expected block. But, okay. Trading the creature is all we were going to get. Let's go ahead and take this thing off the board so he's not getting the mana from it. But I think this game is probably out of reach. We need to either be hitting our 1/1 generator or we need to get a land for this Pyre spawn. Just haven't been doing enough with our mana these past 3 turns or so against opponent with 4 cards in hand. Okay, we'll just let this one go. Give me them rewards. There we go. All right. Alrighty. Well, let's see if we can't get this one up to 5. This is kind of what I was curious we were going to run into as we get into. Like, I don't even know if that dude's exploit deck was any good, but you know, people that have perhaps drafted a few times or if they took our draft strategy of just kind of pick something to go with and run with it and then opened good the rest of the way. Because I will be the first to admit this deck is not good. It's got the tools to win a few games, but this is certainly not a good deck. And I'll talk about it more later. But I'm curious if this is what kind of what we saw in Midnight Vow or Midnight Hunt when Gruul was actually kind of one of the better decks in the first week or two. People were not playing good cards. Here, this is tough. We have enough like 2s to where we can kind of like hope and dream for this, but it certainly has potential for problems, right? We've got 1, 4, 5, 6, 7 2s. So if we pick up a 2 in our top 2 draws, it's not that bad, but we should have played the mountain first, but this is not a great start. And that exiles, so he doesn't get to do the search your library thing to put more of those in play. But this is the classic problem I have with 4-landers in this format. So if you start with a 4-lander and draw a couple more land, you tend to just be completely out of the game. We'll see if we can recover. I mean, if we were playing like the blue-black exploit deck, I think it would probably be recoverable. But with a deck like ours, it's certainly not good. How many of those little zombies you got in your deck, my man? He's got at least 3 in his deck. Not bad. Stop reading my card. But yeah, I mean, we are super far behind now. I mean, we can trade this this Sure Strike. Oh no, we can't even attack this turn. That's bad. Is bad. Pick it up, Passion Panda. Your decisions aren't that big. He's got a removal spell for our Fearful Villager, and he's going to play a 2-drop. Got it. I figured it out for you. There you go. Think on it a little longer. We already laid your plays out for you. We know what's going to happen. Oh, he didn't play. Oh my gosh. He didn't play a removal spell. Whenever a creature you control exploits, make a token. Okay. Oh my god, take longer. Jeez. Look, I can. Do you have something to do here with your black mana? I'll take it all back if he has something to do for 1 black mana. But I guess there is. I guess there's something. Alright, let's see if we get him with this Sure Strike. We don't. I think we can still add the Ridge Wolf. I mean, we don't get to flip our Fearful Villager this way, but he's out here big boy in it. He's ready to attack next turn. But these are the kind of things I'm talking about. When you see like our Boros thing that we have and things like Skull Scab, at the very beginning of these formats, you can like see something like Skull Scab and be like, oh, well, this is a blue-black card. I want to come out here and exploit a bunch of stuff. And, you know, you can just draft every blue-black card you see that says exploit on it and say, like, oh, I'll probably need something to sacrifice to these. So you can pick up your Wretched Throngs and your Skeletons that come back to the board. Makes it, you know, very easy in the first set when, like, I still have no fucking idea what Boros is meant to do. Like, right? We see that, like, Boros Waltzer, and it's like, I don't get what he's supposed to be doing. Like, he's putting bonuses onto other units. That seems like good for like training, but the training I'm pretty sure is a green-white thing. So I'm not really sure what Boros's thing is in this format, but you know, the Skull Scab makes it like readily apparent what you're trying to do. And that's more along the lines is what I'm talking about. Like, you see the blue-white one that has Disturb, and you're like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing Disturb with blue-white. Or you see the red-green one with like the Go Wide Werewolves that flips to give all of your units +1/+1. Like, it's very easy to see those things and kind of like figure out what you're supposed to do. I look at this Boros one and I have no idea what we're supposed to do. And so that's a bit of a downside. It says he's a vampire, but red-white isn't a vampire set, and so not real sure what's going on there. Whenever opponent casts a spell, that player creates a blood token. When it attacks, it gets a 1/0 for each token that I have. Okay. Don't think Vampire Slayer is going to do it. So, okay, we'll just go ahead and give it up here. And so not bad, not bad. A lot of how I kind of expected this format to go. I do feel bad that we couldn't quite figure out whatever it is Boros is doing. I feel like it should have been more apparent, but not a bad start. So let's get this pulled up. We'll talk about it a little bit more. Alrighty, so yeah, we got our first Crimson Vow deck up and running, and so one of the things that we ran into with the last draft format was kind of figuring out which cards belong into which decks. And I don't think we did, a particularly good job here. It's like I still like I don't get what is supposed to be the Boros theme. I mean, I guess I could pull it up on Scryfall and look, but yeah, these two don't give us like a real good indicator, right? They show vampires, but the white cards don't seem very vampire-y. Odric does a bunch of shit with blood tokens. The Waltzer, just gives other creatures a bonus. I was expecting this to be like a little more apparent as about like, what we were supposed to draft. Like if we switch this to like, well, let me switch it to WU. Is that going to work? Yeah, like you take a look at the blue and white cards like Brindcomber, you're like, okay, it has Disturb. Sure. These Disturb cards flip into auras. Okay. And then this kind of does stuff when you target something with an aura. Got it. So I'm wanting to like draft Disturb cards. I want to target my own units with auras. Gotcha. Then we take a look at the rare. I don't think I've even seen the rare before, but I bet it's like readily apparent, right? This is going to flip into some kind of enchantment. Yeah, enchant creature. Whenever this creature attacks, create a spirit token, whatever. So, like, you kind of have an idea as to what you're supposed to be doing. We easily saw that with people playing like that blue black exploit thing, and I'm sure you even switch over to like green red. You create a wolf token on the front, and on the backside, your other creatures get 1/0. It's like, that makes sense, right? Oh, I'll put a bunch of dudes on the board, and then I flip over and give them a bonus. And so I'm not, exactly sure what we were supposed to be doing here with Boros, which made this kind of awkward. And so that was kind of like problem number one. Problem number two is I do kind of feel like we're going to fall into this space to where red was kind of like it was in the previous set. I think it's going to appear to be successful because you're able to like play a curve and load up on abrades and flame blast bolts and just like play a tempo game and come out here and just like win some games. Then, if white is as strong as it was in the previous set and you'd say just load up on a bunch of white cards and have the removal out of red, then sure, you've got yourself a decent deck together. But my kind of initial impression on this was our problems in this draft. I don't want to call them mistakes. We're just out here learning at this stage. But our problems were we don't know what Boros does. It wasn't made apparent to us, and I still can't figure it out. We don't have the cards for the specific decks that we're looking for, right? We come out here and see, oh, well, we got some of these like wolf cards, and this should probably be red-green. We have some of these kind of like human-y themes with like the Militia Rallier and the Vampire Slayer. We saw that kind of like white card that draws cards if you have a human. Like you kind of have those things going, but I just can't piece together what we're supposed to be doing with Markov Waltzer. And so we ran into this a lot in the last set. You could see it with, say, something like Larder Zombie, where if you're playing blue-black, Larder Zombie's spectacular. If you're playing blue-green, or maybe even blue-white, it's kind of serviceable, right? You can get some self-mill strategies out of blue-green and blue-white, and then it has no business being in blue-red. Doesn't do anything there. Just trying to mill for flashback just isn't worth it. But that's how I kind of feel about some of these cards, and that something very much so like. Where'd you go? Our wolves, right? The Hungry Ridge Wolf getting a bonus with a wolf, the Runebound Wolf getting this damage ability for your wolves on board, but then we just aren't playing green, where I assume the rest of the wolves live. And so that was, problem number one. Problem number two, yeah, I think red is just going to be bad here. It seems like it has the very good removal and then not very good units. And then here we really messed up some picks in this draft as well. So it was a good learning experience. I hope that it helped you all as well. I do want to. Oh no, the drafts aren't available down here yet, so we'll just have to kind of let it go with that. I kind of wanted to revisit that first pick where we picked up the what's your name, Sigarda's Summons. But this is kind of exactly what the issue with our deck was we were kind of building towards Sigarda's Summons. I think what we should have ended up doing in this draft was becoming a red-green kind of Wolf's deck. and then abandoning white. I kind of had this idea that, this Sigarda summons was going to let us get, we're just going to get a bunch of units on the board, and then with our human generator, then turn them all into angels, win the game. Very easy peasy, but not the way that not the way that those cards actually work. But nonetheless, I guess we'll have to leave it for here today. Maybe with our next draft, the untapped.gg will be back up. So let's crack these packs, take a look at some more of these new cards, and then we'll call it a day. We'll get into some more draftaroos out there. Where'd you at? Hit the packs. Let's see. Looks like we got 8 packs here. What do we got? Hullbreaker Horror. You're very expensive. Return a spell or return a permanent to the hand. Nah. That seems marginally playable. Dominating Vampire. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of a creature. The mana value less than the number of vampires you control. Untap it. Gains haste until end of the turn. Does this last forever? Oh, no, until the end of the turn. Not bad. Dominating Vampire is quite good. It seems to have the problem of being red, though. We'll see. It might just be a bit of a hot take calling red out as being so bad at this point, but it seems like it's definitely needs some help. It says flying. At the beginning of combat, tap a creature or target creature doesn't untap. That's very powerful as well. We could have tried to get the Frenzied Devils deck together. I know we saw some of the spells-based deck showing up throughout the draft, but I don't think that's quite where we were meant to be. The beginning of combat on your turn, a wolf or werewolf gets 2/2, and when an opponent casts their second spell each turn, create a 2/2 wolf. Interesting. Seems much better than all the wolves out of out of Midnight Hunt. Another Dominating Vampire. Thalia, that's the reprint though, right? But yeah, like I said with the Scab, it's very apparent what you're supposed to do with the Scab. So if you come out here and first pick a Scab, you're like, oh, okay, I just draft all the cards that say exploit. And then you can kind of lean on top of that and say, oh, if I need to sacrifice a bunch of creatures, I probably need some sacrificable stuff. And so you got to find some fodder and then find the cards with exploit. You got yourself a deck. That's what we were trying to do here today, but we weren't quite able to do that. Same thing applies with Child of the Pack. And we get one more, and we will call it a day. The Headless Rider. See this? When he or another creature dies, create a 2/2 zombie token. That's such a powerful ability. And it's not even once a turn. Dies or another... I wonder if this is ever like a combo card in Constructed. And the Headless Rider or another non-token zombie. Oh, so maybe because of the token aspect you can't combo off with that. But nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. This video will be coming out on Friday, so you can check us out on Twitch tomorrow. We will be on Twitch both Saturday and Sunday. That should be the 13th and 14th, and I'm looking to stream from 9 to noon Central Time. So you can come, wake up early, watch us play some Magic cards, and then go watch your football games for the day. It should be a wonderful weekend for everyone involved. But nonetheless, that is going to do it for us today. Hope you have enjoyed our jump into Crimson Vow. Maybe you learned a thing or two along the way, had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.